Mic check, 1, 2. What's going on, guys? How you doing? How are you guys doing? On this fine Friday evening here in the UK, the weekend is upon us. We have some boxing this weekend. Obviously, Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall. Josh Taylor defending his undisputed titles. And of course, we have Lawrence Okoli versus Michael Cieslak on Sunday. So, this weekend we have some interesting fights. I believe there is also a card in America, potentially. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's some fights this weekend. The world is going crazy right now, of course. We've been hoodwinked for the last 2 years. Inflation is going through the roof. We have, Russia and Ukraine doing their thing. The world is a crazy place right now, so why not talk some fucking boxing? Why not talk some boxing? Big up to Punch Smollett. Big up to yourself, bro. How you doing, man? How you doing? Hopefully you're keeping well. Let me just reply to this dude. There you go. Boom. Here. Canelo versus Bivol on May the 7th. Yeah, it's looking like that is basically nigh on confirmed. And I have to say, I like that fight. Stylistically, Dimitri Bivol is very interesting for Canelo Alvarez. I don't think on paper it's an easy stylistic matchup for Canelo, so I'm all for that fight. I really like that fight. Yeah, Josh Taylor, though. Josh Taylor always looks a bit gaunt at the weigh-in, but I get what you're saying. He looked a little worse than usual. But, he's a big dude. He's like 5'10", 5'10 and a half. He's quite a tall guy for the weight class. So I'd imagine that this fight is going to be his last at 140. I will say, though, man, I've got a funny feeling this fight's going to be harder than people imagine. I really do. I'm not saying Jack Catterall is going to win. I'm picking Josh Taylor by late stoppage. But I think he's going to have some awkward moments in this fight. I really do. Russia versus Ukraine is looking like 10-8 Russia in round 2 so far. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Again, I've seen what's on the TV. I've heard the mainstream narrative in regards to what's going on, but quite frankly, I don't really believe the mainstream media. So I'll need to check that out myself and try and find some independent sources in regards to what is going on, why it's going on, etc., etc. I can't trust the mainstream narrative to tell me the full story. I know that sounds zany and that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, these guys, the same people who told us about Iraq having WMDs, the same people who haven't questioned the narrative in regards to the last 2 years. These people are not on our side. Marku versus Jenkins. Who have you got? Jenkins is washed, in my opinion. Is that official, Albanian boxer? Is that official? That's a good fight. I would have Marku. I think he's too... Yeah, like you said, he's too fresh at this point. The mainstream narrative is correct on this one. Again, I will have to find out. The only reason that made me doubt that, well, not the only reason, the reason being is that we've been lied to for years from these guys. But one of the main reasons I'm kind of hesitant to really commit either way is because I knew somebody who I boxed with. He was of Ukrainian descent. He's basically English, but his mum's side was from Ukraine. And he was saying, this was ages ago, but he was saying that his family are basically all pro-Russian. They're not really Eurocentric kind of thing. They're pro-Russian more so than pro-European, pro-Eurocentric, I guess. So I'd like to know, what the actual sentiment is in the Ukraine. How many still feel an allegiance to Russia? Who wants to be more Eurocentric, join NATO, get further in bed with the EU? What is the actual sentiment from the people as a whole? I'd like to know that. Yep. Fury versus White officially announced, Wembley Stadium, April the 23rd. It's all official. It's all done. So yeah, I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad it's happening. Yeah, 23rd of April, Wembley Stadium. Sugar Hill's going to be staying at Fury's place in Vegas. So if he's not training Fury, that's a concern. I guess he's doing his training camp in America, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Albanian boxer. I heard that Klitschko knows the mafia. Well, Vitali's a politician, so the media hasn't had to do any work. They've essentially been broadcasting unedited speeches from Putin that have been 1 hour long ethno-nationalist rants. We'll see, man. Again, it's unfortunate, but it's crazy. Big up to Marianne G. Putin's on his Fuhrer trip. Hello, Del. Did you hear about the WBO and Russian boxers? Laugh out loud. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. What have they said? What have they said? Deeply disturbing what is happening. Are we heading to a world war here? I would say no. I would say no. Yeah, isn't that the Chris Colbert card, Marianne? Isn't that the Chris Colbert card? Wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't fuck with that dude, Vitaly Klitschko. I wouldn't fuck with him. Yeah, what's going on with the WBO? Yeah, that's a Chris Colbert card. Okay. Exactly, Sander B. As long as Russia doesn't attack NATO, there's not going to be a war. Yeah. So the WBO they're not sanctioning. Paco Valacarel, whatever his name is, has revealed that the sanctioning body are considering removing all Russian boxers from their rankings and not sanctioning any world title or regional fights in Russia until the invasion of Ukraine ends. I mean, if you're a Russian dude, let's say you are Dmitry Bivol, for example, does that mean he can't fight for the WBO title? He doesn't even live in Russia. So to me, that is, listen, I hate these buzzwords and terms, but that is xenophobic. How can you penalize a guy who doesn't live in Russia, who's living in America or wherever? How can you penalize that guy? If that was any other country, I think people would have a problem with it, to be honest. Yeah, Ankahas, he's fighting this weekend. Ankahas is always good value for money. He's fighting a Mexican dude. The dude is only like 13-0, but you never know what you're going to get from these unknown Mexicans. You could unearth a really good talent, or he might get smashed. Who knows? Yeah, that's how I see it, bro. I think that's unfair if that is true, because you can't penalize an individual who's not involved in government, who's not fighting in that war. How can you penalize a Russian just because their country's quote unquote invading Ukraine? How does that work? Again, if that was any other country, I think a lot of people would be up in arms. Yeah, Bivol could represent Kyrgyzstan instead of the Russian Federation. Always a loophole. That is true. Oh, is he not Mexican? I swear he was Mexican. The dude Ancajas was fighting. I swear he was Mexican. Oh no, he's Argentinian. My apologies. He's Argentinian. Okay. His record doesn't fill me with confidence, I have to say. Argentinian, yeah. Fun fact, I'm a girl. Laugh out loud. I would never have guessed that. Albanian boxer. Like, genuinely. Like, my channel analytics on this channel, the analytics are like fucking 99.9% men. Nordic, the war is fake. Look at the news reports closely. Yeah, to be honest with you, Nordic, I've not really paid attention to the mainstream. Obviously, I've seen what's apparently going on, but I've not delved into it, quite frankly. I've not delved into it. I was saying this earlier. When I get the time, I'll look into it, but I'll try and do it. I'll try and find independent sources kind of thing. I've got Marku, LR. I've got Marku. Marku's too fresh, too strong. I think he'll take out Chris Jenkins. I think Jenkins will make it. He'll make it awkward early on, but I think Marku gets to Chris Jenkins. So is that fight official? Chris Jenkins versus Florian Marku. Andre Ward out here beefing with Gennady Golovkin. Yeah, that's nonsense. That whole I made an offer thing is bullshit. He sent Golovkin's team an email after the David Lemieux fight was confirmed, if my memory is correct. There was never no offer. There was never no offer because at that time, the Lemieux fight got confirmed and basically the winner was ordered by the WBC to fight the winner of Canelo versus Cotto. So Golovkin, he had the unification fight against Lemieux lined up, and at the time he thought he was going to get the winner of Cotto versus Canelo. So that offer or that email, in my opinion, was clout chasing. And this was a time when Andre Ward was out of a ring, he was coming back, and he said he couldn't make 168. So that's all bullshit, man. It's complete bullshit. The fact that people still fall for that and still push that narrative that Ward offered Golovkin a fight, they're either lying, they're either willfully lying, or they're just ignorant. But if you've got a boxing channel and you report on that, you should know better. You should know better. There was never any time when Golovkin Ward could have really happened, to be honest. There was never any time when it could have happened. I was thinking about that Michael Van Gerwen, but I'm not sure what side Usyk is on because I've heard he's pro-Russian and I've heard he's not. I don't know what's going on with Usyk, so who knows? Who knows? Russell points and Ancajas stoppage is 6-1. Can't argue. You can't argue with that. Let's have a look at this PBC card. So you've got Ancajas versus Fernando Martinez. That could be decent. Ancajas is always good to watch. He's always good to watch. What else you got on this card? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Chris Colbert versus Hector Luis Garcia. I've never seen Garcia fight before, so I'm not sure what to expect there. And the fight of the card, maybe the fight of the weekend, by the way, Gary Antoine Russell versus Victor Postal. I'm a bit disappointed that that fight's only a 10-rounder, but it's a really good test for Gary Antoine Russell. If Russell can beat Postal convincingly, that's a good look. That's a good look. Looking forward to that one. That's a good fight. Yeah, I'll let you guys debate that one, to be honest. Kavalauskas knocks out Conor Benn 100%. I would favour Kavalauskas, to be honest. Kavalauskas coming off a couple of losses, a couple of knockout defeats, but he's still going to be dangerous. Big puncher, Olympic background. I think that fight, I'd love to see it. I think that's a great fight. I might favour Kavalauskas, but it's a winnable fight for Ben. It's winnable, but it's a hard fight. It's a dangerous fight. I'd love to see it. Nordic is KGB. Listen, man, anyone here is free to their opinion. Again, I'm not sure what to make of it, quite frankly. I'll need to do my own research. But anyone here can have their opinion, whether people like it or not. Okay, so Del, Usyk is anti-war, but he's Orthodox Russian church religion. Politically speaking, he's anti-West, but pro-Ukraine. Interesting. Usyk's going to need more than good footwork to dodge bullets. Fucking hell. Reckon Josh Kelly will ever fight again? Avanesian shocked him. Yeah, he's fighting again. He signed with Boxer. So yeah, he'll fight again. It's just when and where. What is it? I'd imagine it's 154. Lee Davis, he's on the Nordic side of things. One of the videos was hilariously fake. It depicted a bomb exploding and the civilians kept on walking casually as if nothing happened. We need a modern day John and Yoko. Big up to yourself, man. Big up to yourself, Mad Chad. Hopefully you're keeping well on this fine Friday. Big up to yourself, man. Yeah, Mad Chad is he's a proper lad, Mad Chad. He's one of those dudes you like to sit back, have a beer with, maybe smoke a couple of joints with, talk boxing, talk life, talk the world, talk the universe and everything in it. He's one of those dudes. Good charisma. He's an OG, Mad Chad, OG. Boris the bullet dodger. Usyk is anti-Bandera along with plenty of Ukrainians and Lomachenko. Bandera was made into a national hero in 2014 who fought for independence, but in reality was a Hitler puppet who killed Ukrainian Jews and Poles. Yeah, it's a complicated region. And I'll be lying if I said I understand it. Again, we can have our opinions and we can surmise, but I'd like to hear from people from that region on both sides, average people, to see what's going on. Yeah, I've said this before, Nordic. I've never trusted the Klitschko brothers. I wouldn't trust those guys as far as I could throw them. I wouldn't trust those guys. Chad is an OG of life, John McSmith. OG of life. Pagan Warmaster, I like that name. What was the best Russian versus Ukrainian boxing matches? The war should stay in the ring. Well, recent big fights, Ukraine have got the best of it. Usyk pissed on Gassiev. Klitschko beat Povetkin. I think Catterall made a mistake grabbing Taylor's throat. He should have smacked him instead and gave him a black eye for the fight. I mean, if you're going to assault your opponent, do it right. I get what you're saying. I think that's good, though. I think he's trying to rile up Josh Taylor to try and walk him into a big shot. That's what I think he's banking on. I mean, he's been making hints at it in the build-up, how hot-headed he is, how he can be drawn into a fight, how his defense isn't great. I think Jack Catterall is trying to get Josh Taylor in that mindset where he comes forwards, takes risks, and just tries to blow Jack Catterall away. I think that's what Jack wants. I think he's going to try and walk Josh into a really big shot. Because he can't outwork Josh. I don't think he can outbox Josh. He can't outfight Josh on the inside. I think the only real chance Jack has if he lands a Hail Mary punch. And I think Jack does hit relatively hard. He's not a huge puncher, but he hits relatively hard. And if you're weight drained on any given night, who knows? Who knows? 60 degrees 2 days ago, 10 degrees today, and snow today. Strange days indeed. Oh, that's true, yeah. Beterbiev Vodzik, yeah. Beterbiev Vodzik. Beterbiev smashed up Vodzik. Yeah, that's true, Joe. That is true. Reckon Tyson Fury is on the hit list of the Ukrainian mafia. Tyson Fury is what he is, and he. Yeah, Taylor looked horrible on the scales. Could see a Lee McGregor performance. Yeah, you never know, man. It could be one fight too many at 140. You never know. Stranger things have happened. And I don't think Jack Catterall's a bad fighter, to be honest. The only issue I have with Jack is his feet are quite slow, and he's got a habit of kind of lifting his back leg when he punches, like when he lunges in. He lifts his back leg, and if he does that, you could easily see him getting timed and dropped. But he's quite accurate. What I like about Jack Catterall, he's quite good at punching with his opponents, and he's got pretty good timing, pretty good accuracy. So who knows? I'm looking forward to it more than most. If only that was the real Ali Drew. If only. Yeah, Taylor would 100% bite too. Guy's a fucking nutter. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'd like Taylor to move up in weight and fight guys of his own size. Yeah. I'm eating a sandwich. Looking Beterbiev's bleeding forehead is freaking awesome. Exactly. Beterbiev is an OG. Yeah, Taylor's a possible serial killer. Any unexplained murders in Scotland? Check Taylor's whereabouts. Yeah, exactly. Albanian boxer. A lot of people were picking O'Hara Davis. It was basically seen as a 50-50 at the time, believe it or not. So if you picked him at the time, it is what it is, man. Feisty face-off made the fight a lot more interesting. I agree. Love to see it. I agree. Yeah, I think Catterall's being clever. He knows Josh is the better fighter, but is banking on getting Josh to perform for the crowd and feel the pressure. Quite smart. Exactly. That's what I think he's doing. That's what I think he was doing. And that's understandable. Big up to True Crime with G-Man. Big up to yourself, G-Man. Hopefully you're well, man. Hopefully you're well. Yeah, if only that was the real Ali Drew. If only. Yeah, Scottish fighters have a history of draining themselves to fight in divisions they don't belong. Indeed. Jack's power is all right. It's decent. It's not great. It's not Malinagi. It's just solid. If he hits you on the chin and perfectly, he can hurt you. He's that sort of guy. Well, you had your chance. Bye. I honestly don't know why you would do that and damage your body for so long. It's dangerous. Yeah, gets to your kidneys. On fight night, your punch resistance could be reduced because of the weight cut. Sorry, fluids around the brain and all that. So yeah, if you do it too long, it can definitely detrimentally affect you. Yeah, unexplained murders in Scotland. How long do you have? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm glad it's done, G-Man. I'm glad it's finally signed. It's finally official. Wembley Stadium, April 23rd. It's a big fight. It's going to get the country excited. I think White's got a puncher's chance. Tyson Fury can't afford to take him lightly. But Tyson, I've got Tyson winning that fight, maybe by late stoppage. But it's a good fight. It's a good fight. Dillian. Listen, I've had my problems with Dillian, but he is a top 10 contender, right? So it's a good fight. It's a good fight. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Jack Catterall's a good counter puncher and southpaw. Um, that's always going to be a problem for boxers. Yeah, and Josh is a southpaw himself, so I wonder how that's going to affect proceedings. It's looking likely, Pagan Warmaster. It's looking likely. It's not official yet, but according to sources, it's nearly confirmed. Nearly confirmed. Do you think the year out will hurt White badly? Not really. Not to the extent where it would hurt other fighters, because White is quite technically limited anyway. So I don't know. Maybe. I think it would affect a guy like Fury more. If Fury was off for so long, I think it would affect his style more. I think White may be able to get away with it a bit more, given that he's a bit limited. He's not exactly the smartest boxer, doesn't really rely on rhythm, etc. He's just a fighter, really, Dillian White. He's a slugger with a good counter left hook. So I don't think so, really, to be honest. Mark Tibbs also said White only has a puncher's chance. I think that's realistic, though. I think that's realistic. I mean, I don't agree with people saying Dillian's got no chance. I mean, there's been bigger upsets. I mean, if Dillian White knocks out Tyson Fury, it's not as big an upset as Lennox Lewis getting knocked out by Oliver McCall or Hashim Rahman or Douglas knocking out Tyson. It's not on that level. It could happen. Heavyweight, the heavyweight division is crazy. Not convinced his silence is under Eddie's command. What does White have to gain from listening to him? Only thing that might make sense is long term, and that his fight is fighting on Eddie's cards. I'm not sure what you mean. I've been boxing since I was 6 years old. I'm 16 now, and I think I've got more technical abilities than Bridges. Yeah. To be fair, it's not hard, Albanian boxer. You should be all right. You should beat her. I've got a feeling that White's chin will be exposed against Fury. If he gets knocked out, I think it's going to be late, Adolf Starling. I think it will be late. I think White will take a bit of punishment beforehand, gas, and then get stopped late. Maybe get dropped a couple of times in the process. I agree, Mariangi. I think B-Roll is the best fight out of all of them. I agree. The third Golovkin fight, I mean, it depends. Like right now, I don't really have any interest in it because Golovkin's been out for so long. He's 40. I mean, if he looks anything less than spectacular against Murata, I've got no real interest in Canelo Golovkin 3, to be honest. I work for Probellum. What network should we sign with? Give me a good answer and I'll DM you my number. Sign with Babe Station. How about that? So we'll see Fury fight 2 times this year, probably undisputed in the fall. I hope so, Pagan Warmaster, but you know how undisputed is at heavyweight. It's always in one fight's time, but that fight never comes. So I wouldn't count on anything, bro. I wouldn't count on anything. Don't expect it and you won't be disappointed. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen this year, to be honest. Yeah, leave a like indeed. Smash that like. Apparently, B-Roll Canelo is done for May 7th, but strange they didn't go May 5th. I guess May 7th is a Saturday. Yeah, I mean, Tibbs doesn't have to be loyal to Dillian White anymore. I think he felt wronged by the way that relationship ended. So he owes Dillian nothing, in my opinion. Yeah, May 5th is a Thursday, exactly, yeah. That's my birthday, May 5th. Yeah, Fury's been put on his ass a lot. I think White should go all out crazy for 3 rounds. Why not, man? Why not? Make it a fight. Yeah, it's crazy, G-Man. Bridge is probably going to be a world champion. Don't the men make it look easy? Don't the females make it look hard? They earned their $2,000 here. Crazy, man. No, I think it's... Listen, we'll see. We'll see when the press conference comes up, how Dillian responds, if he even turns up. I mean, Dillian doesn't have an obligation to do anything, quite frankly. But, you know, I get that he's not happy with the money. I get that it's not his promotion. I get all that. But you're not just promoting the fight, you're also promoting yourself. And this is the biggest stage that Dillian White's ever been on. So he should take the opportunity to promote himself, you know? He needs to look at the bigger picture, in my opinion. No idea on the Brook Khan pay-per-view numbers. I'd imagine it did pretty well. I mean, it was trending all week leading up to that fight. I'd imagine it did well, really well. Like the promotion was non-stop in regards to that fight, non-stop. Yeah, I think we can see that White struggles with bigger fighters, AJ, Hellenius, Whack, even though circumstances for 2 of them weren't great. He still struggled badly with a reach deficit. Yeah, he seems to struggle punching up, Joe. Yeah, I'd give White a very slim puncher's chance. He's got decent power, but it's not like Fury hasn't fought bigger punchers. Exactly, yeah. Yes, big up to yourself. Another May 5th dude. Big up to yourself, Joe. Yeah, I'm not a fan, Sander B. I'm not a fan. I'll have you know, Babe Station is a long-standing, reputable TV channel. I don't know why you're being a snob, Ali. I don't know why you're being a snob. I low-key want to see Billy Joe sparked out. He got rocked by Dad's friend, Shiva Isafi. Yeah, he did get rocked. Yeah, 28 years young, Nordic. 28 years young. I don't feel fucking young, I'll tell you that much. I don't feel young. In June time, it's 12 years. No, yeah, 12 years since I left school. I don't know where this time's gone, bro. I don't know where this time's gone. It's crazy how quickly time goes. Yeah, Warren's only got 3 shows planned so far for this year, including the Fury fight. Not looking good. Yeah, he's recently got Zach Parker and Andrade. He won that purse bid, so that'll be a good card. Whenever that happens, that'll be a good card. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's how I see it, Marianne G. If I was Dillian, I'd swallow the bullet, I'd bite the bullet, and just promote it, act up, do this, that, and the other. And if he wins the fight, man, he's in a great position. He's in a great position. Michael Buffour, he says, remember when Frank bashed White when Povetkin KO'd him? Frank laughed and said, fight Daniel Dubois, offering him only 20%. If White don't show, I don't blame him. No, I get that. I get that, Michael. And like I said, he's got no obligation to show up. But again, it's not just about promoting the fight, it's about promoting yourself, right? So It's not like he doesn't have any reason to show up, is what I'm saying. Yeah, Frank's trying to make some moves. Exactly, yeah. Babe Station is a British institution. It's more British than imperialism and fighting out of a football. Exactly, bro. Exactly. On those, Friday after school, late night, Babe Station. You guys know how it is. I guess you brought some bad. I guess you brought back some bad memories of my DAZN days. Uh White and Dean. I'm not a Fury hater, but even during the third Wilder fight, he outweighed him by 39 pounds. His weight definitely contributes to his victories. Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it, White and Dean. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you could say the same for Klitschko, Joshua, all of these big dudes, man. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Canelo, but even Golovkin right now is getting a bit tiresome. Just make this fight, man. Make this fucking fight with Murata. Sick of waiting. Sick of waiting. To be fair, devil's advocate, let's say Deontay Wilder was the same height and same weight as Tyson Fury. If he caught Tyson with that same shot, Tyson's probably not getting up. Of course, weight plays a factor to a certain degree. Of course it does. Just because we don't like Wilder, it's okay to say, yeah, Fury size played a part. Absolutely it did. Too much green and BBWs will age you fast. Speak for yourself, man. I'm joking. I don't like BBWs, you fucking heathen. Yeah, that is true as well. You have to know how to use it properly. Exactly. I don't see. Yeah, that's the truth in my opinion. Yeah, Fury size is a big part of his game. Best example of that was Steve Cunningham, where Steve was outboxing him. He was outspeeding him, outslicking him. Steve was boxing quite well, but Fury got on his chest, smothered him, mauled him, and knocked him out. That was a size thing. A lot of it was a size thing. Not sure. I use VPNs, but I'm subscribed to the UK version. If you use a VPN, let's say you set your VPN to fucking America, wherever, you'd have to still sign up to the American version. So you're not saving any money per se. I'm slightly older. My version of Babe Station was Eurotrash. I remember Eurotrash. They used to show replays on what channel was it back in the day? It was on Freeview. What channel was it? I forget what channel it was. Let's be honest, Fury and Wilder are like multiple weight divisions apart if you take other divisions into account. Man or G-Man, one of those guys will help me. I'm a big fan of you, Ali, but you have to work with me. You have to work with me. It has to be a negotiation. If it's for real, Ali, you're welcome to visit me in London. Yeah, facts. Go on John Harding's box rec and check the name of his promoter. His name isn't even Lamar Scott, for fuck's sake. Yeah, Dean White's got more fucking aliases than God knows what. Than a fucking KGB agent. Christ. Maybe Dean White's a fucking Russian bot. Who knows? Channel 4. I think that's what it was. Big up to Ian Ward. Steve Cunningham said it was like fighting a fridge freezer when he fought Fury. Yeah, I can imagine. I don't even know who Ali Drew is. Ali Drew. She works with I'm sure she works for BT. No, is it BT? I've seen her about. She's like she works on boxing shows. My interview with Assange's wife was cancelled at the last minute because of court deadlines. Good thing she's still interested. Yeah, that's the main thing. Obviously, that is a highly demanded person. I'm sure, like, she's got interview requests out the backside. So the fact you're even in talks and potentially getting an interview is good. Just keep up with it, man. Keep on chasing, and hopefully you get it, man. And if you do, like I said, I'll put it out there for you as well. I'll share it on my community tab on both channels. You know, I'll try and get it out there. I'll try and get it out there for you as much as I can, because that's an achievement. That is getting that interview if you get it. Even if Wilder was bigger than Fury, he would still get destroyed. Wilder's a next level bum. I don't know, man. I don't know. But to be honest, if Wilder was Fury's size, his style wouldn't be the same anyway. So it's kind of pointless. It's kind of pointless discussing it. So his name is Lamar Scott. Who knows, man? Who knows? I want to see Putin take Boris Johnson hostage in a Russian bunker. Taylor, 9th round KO over Catterall. I could see that. I think it will be late, yeah. Last 4 rounds or so. I'm an interviewer Probellum used to work for The Zone and freelance for BT. Also a ring card girl back in the day, and to my shame, was on X on the beach. No problem, Brandon, man. No problem. Just let me know when it's done, bro. Let me know when it's done, and I'll sort you out, man. Reckon Marku beats Khan. I was at the Khan versus Brook fight ringside. Yeah, I probably would pick Marku, to be honest. I probably would pick Marku. Old Klaus Schwab. That guy, man. Pure evil. Klaus, whatever his fucking name is. Again, just looking at that guy gives me the fucking shivers. Fucking creature, that guy. I think Taylor wins on points personally. Jack will likely know how to survive and look for counters. His best chance is late in the fight when Taylor gets frustrated, but I see Taylor winning. Yep. I'm looking forward to it, Nordic. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a better fight than people think. I really do. Like, the atmosphere is going to be crazy. Scotland versus England, you know, people are always up for that. That's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. And surprisingly, Jack Catterall had quite a lot of support at the weigh-in. Like, his fans were quite noisy, so that's going to make for a good atmosphere. That's going to make for a good atmosphere. And when the atmosphere is that partisan, I don't know, man. Sometimes fighters can fight to the crowd, and that can lead to some really interesting fights. Really interesting fights. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, clown Schwab. I can see Taylor stopping him in 7 or less. Yeah, my problem with Jack Catterall is the inactivity going into this fight. That's the big red flag for him. Because this is going to be a hard fucking fight to come back to, I'll tell you that. I see Crawford absolutely piecing up Taylor if they fight. I would pick Crawford, yeah, but I think it'll be competitive, but I'd pick Crawford, to be honest. The sad thing now, though, that fight, I know Josh Taylor is super champion with the WBO, which means he can get a mandatory shot. But, you know, Taylor's with Top Rank, and we know Crawford's relationship with Top Rank now. That fight could be messy to make. Unpopular opinion, YouTube boxing made boxing popular again. It was dying in 2016, I think. You might be right. It's definitely helped promote fights, no doubt about it. And people in boxing are aware of like the YouTube scene, no doubt. It definitely plays a part. Interviewing Assange's wife will become the biggest achievement aside from graduating from school. Nobody seems to care about Assange, but people should care. Exactly, yeah. I agree. And again, well done, bro. And congrats as well for graduating as well. Jack's going to give him a good fight. I think so. I wanted to go to the weigh-in, but couldn't get the time off work because there were several men down. We were several men down. Sorry, one of my colleagues just got suspended for turning up to work. Hi, laugh out loud. Hopkins, in my opinion, like Hopkins when he was younger was underrated. He was more when he was younger. He was more of a boxer puncher, more of a clean boxer. It was when he got older that's when he started to really kind of start resorting to headbutting, holding, fouling. But yeah, Hopkins was a good fighter. Rod, I think Lomachenko wins comfortably, but not as easy as Rocky Martinez. A relative of mine got some footage of the media workouts, though. Sucks that I couldn't go. I would have trolled Adam Smith ringside and tried to get an interview with Josh if I could. Yeah, Bean! No, I don't know, man. Personally, I think Joshua made boxing popular again, and that's why YouTube boxing and Fury Wilder became superstars. I'm not sure that's strictly true, but Joshua definitely had a big part to play in boxing getting popular in the UK again. He definitely had a big part to play. Yeah, most boxing weigh-ins are free to enter, but I still think you have to apply for tickets on some events, but usually they are free. What do you think of Warrington versus Martinez? I mean, the fight itself isn't bad, but I don't like the way how that fight's come about. So look at the timeline of that title. Warrington is the IBF champion. Kid Galahad is called as mandatory. Warrington vacates to avoid Galahad. Galahad wins the vacant title. In the meantime, Warrington gets knocked out by Lara. Warrington then rematches Lara and basically pussies out and headbutts his way to a technical draw. Then Galahad gets knocked out by Martinez, a guy who Warrington's already beat. And now we have Warrington fighting for the title again. To me, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. Eddie Hearn is the mastermind behind Joshua. AJ fans don't want to admit it. To be honest, bro, I think Joshua, regardless, he would have been a big star. Eddie's done a great job, but he would have always been a big star. I mean, you would have to be seriously incompetent to mess that up, promoting Joshua. Seriously incompetent. I agree, Abstract, to a point. I agree that Taylor is levels above. He's bigger, he's stronger, he hits harder, he's more experienced. But sometimes when you think that you just get a feeling. You just get a feeling. I've got a weird feeling this fight's going to be competitive at certain points. Again, I'm picking Taylor to win by late knockout, but I think Jack's going to do better than people think. I don't think Josh is comfortable at the weight anymore. He looked pretty gaunt. Jack seems to be saying the right things to try and draw Josh into a scrap. So who knows, man? It could be more competitive than we think. Froch late knockout all day long, twice on Sundays. Froch late knockout. Richie Woodall was a good boxer, a good straight up and down boxer. Nice jab, nice straight. But I think he'd get broken down by Cole Froch, to be honest. That's a good point. If Frank Warren had Anthony Joshua, that fight would have more likely have been made, Wilder and Joshua. Probably more than likely would have been made. Frank's got a good relationship with Shelley Finkel, for example. Seems to work quite well with seems to work okay with Al Heyman as well. So yeah, I think Froch would have stopped him late. I think Richie was a decent boxer. He was a decent technical boxer. One of those guys who did the basics well, but nothing special, nothing crazy, nothing outstanding, no crazy punching power, no crazy speed. Just had solid fundamentals. Yeah, exactly, Nordic. That's why I think Froch would grind him down, probably stop him late. Tony Sims. I would choose Tony Sims. I don't rate Joe Gallagher at all. I think Ryland Charlton's going down to lightweight. I want to say. Well, he last fought at lightweight actually. On the back of that, who would you choose as a trainer in the UK out of all of them? That's a good question. Honestly, given I'm a tall range, I'd be tall and rangy for my weight class. I'd probably pick Shane McGuigan, to be honest. I'd probably pick Shane McGuigan. Not sure yet, brother. Not sure yet. Yeah, Malinga was a pretty good fighter. Malinga went on till he was like 40 odd as well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Malinga was decent. Malinga was decent. That's a good solid win for Richie Woodall. Wasn't Woodhall the WBC champion? I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was WBC. Any other Albanian boxer apart from Marku that you know? No, to be honest. I can't think of one anyway. I agree, Jazz. Catterall looks like he can't get out of second gear. Can't see him surviving the Tartan tornado. I agree with the second gear part. He always looks like a guy who is fighting to the level of his opponent. And it kind of has me in two minds. Does this guy have something that he's not shown us yet? Because those guys do exist. When they step up, they show a completely different level to their game. Like Cambosos, for example. Is Jack that sort of fighter? Or is he just does he have that sort of sparring partner mentality? Because this guy sparred with Floyd. He got called out to a Floyd camp when Floyd was fighting Manny Pacquiao. He sparred with Canelo Alvarez. So there's obviously something there. There's obviously some talent there. But is he that sort of sparring partner guy who can't really reenact that under the bright lights? I don't know. But I think that I've always had the impression that there's more to come with that guy, Jack Catterall. I don't know why, and I could be wrong. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of these big coaches in the UK, they are affiliated with promoters like Hearn or Warren. So these guys get the pick of the bunch, and it's harder for the other guys to come through, kind of thing. But yeah, that's British boxing for you. It's pally pally. There's cliques in British boxing. It is what it is, man. Oh yeah, the dead zone. Yeah, the zone guy. Rishat Mati or Reshat Mati, however you say his name. Oh yeah, Krasniki. Yeah, Robin Krasniki. Robin Krasniki. Yeah, Krasniki was a good fighter at one point. He was decent. Yeah, that fight was dreadful, Stephen. Absolutely awful. Awful fight, man. Awful fight. Okay, so yeah, WBC. Yeah, he was WBC. Lost his title to Bayer in Telford. That was a great fight. Bayer dropped him 3 times and pretty much dominated the first half. But in the second half, in the last 2 rounds, Bayer was gassed badly and holding on for dear life. Richie very nearly stopped him. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Camboso struggled with injuries earlier in his career, though, which is a big reason for why his ability was less evident. That is true. But those sort of guys do exist, though. The guys who only really truly step up when they get to world level. They show that next level. Those guys do exist, in my opinion. Is Jack one of those guys? Who knows? Who knows? Even if he is, I don't think he wins this fight, by the way. I'm not saying he wins this fight. All I'm saying is it's going to be more competitive than people imagine. That's my opinion. I might be wrong. He might get fucking blown out in a couple of rounds. Maximus Jenkins. I mean, listen, in regards to betting, more than likely. More than likely. Those Albanians don't fucking play, man. They don't fucking play. I think that is partly down to the fact that he started boxing late, Sander. He doesn't. Joshua's a great athlete. He's got good speed, explosiveness, power, and he does have decent basic fundamentals. But it's using his initiative when something goes wrong. That's where Joshua looks like a novice, and I think that's because he started boxing late. You saw the same thing with Deontay Wilder, and even to a lesser extent with Sergio Martinez. In regards to with Sergio Martinez, it was more down to the technical side of things, I guess. But you can tell. Usually, you can tell with late starters there's something wrong. There's something that's not quite there. Sergio Martinez had the mentality of a seasoned guy who started young, but technically, you could tell he had to wing it basically and learn on the job. Big up to Steven Schneider, by the way. Thoughts on Badu Jack? Underrated fighter. Really enjoyable career. Had a couple of unlucky moments. Arguably beat Adonis Stevenson. Good fighter. Badu Jack. And a classy guy as well. Got nothing bad to say about Badu Jack. Gennady Golovkin late. I'd say mid-round stoppage. Gennady Golovkin. Yeah, Richley lost to Calzaghe, but Yeah, Richie wasn't a champion at that time. Calzaghe won his belt from Eubank. Was it Eubank? For a vacant title? Yeah, vacant title against Eubank because he was going to fight Steve Collins. And Steve Collins pulled out, who was the champion, and the title became vacated. And Eubank fought for the vacant title against Calzaghe. No, I'll take Eubank, to be honest. I know Krasniqi's a lot bigger, but I'll take Eubank. I'll take Eubank. Jack hasn't got that combo of upper self-confidence, and he also isn't fighting a massively distracted fighter who's been living the rockstar life. Yeah, that is true. That is true, Marianne G. That is very true. But, I mean, self-confidence, I mean, that could be just because somebody's not outwardly talking a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not confident or not or they don't have self-belief. Sometimes those are the guys who you need to watch out for. But I get you. Max has got the fastest hands in the kitchen, so he does. Listen, fair play to the guy, man. He's got a boxing license. He's doing his thing, following his dream. Fair play to the guy, man. Fair play to him. Hope it goes well for him. Hope it goes well for him. Good fight, that, James. Scottish area title fight. Yeah, Scottish title fight at heavyweight. Good fight, yeah. I mean, Jay McFarlane, he's a fucking mess. Absolute mess. But I don't rate Nick Campbell. So that could be a good little scrap. Sturm did have a good chin. He had a pretty good chin, Sturm. But it was mainly his defense, though. His defense was hard to penetrate. That high guard, lovely jab, good distance control, lovely sense of range. Sturm was a good boxer, a good technical boxer. And I'll tell you what, the high guard. I'm telling you, man, the high guard's turning into a thing of the past. I love a good high guard. I love a good high guard, man. I really do. In terms of high guards, my favorite high guards are Arthur Abraham. He was like a turtle, man. It was hard to penetrate that. It was hard to penetrate that high guard of Arthur Abraham's. And I also liked Winky Wright's high guard. Winky Wright was a lot more versatile with his guard. He could turn it into a shoulder roll. He had an active guard as well. Winky Wright was very skilled, man. Very skilled. A fighter that not many people talk about now, Winky Wright. I mean, if you take Winky Wright now, put him at 154, he beats everybody. Charlo, Castano, he beats all of those guys at 154 now. Winky Wright. You don't always have to be flashy and extravagant with your style. Winky had a great base of fundamentals. He could box, and that was it. Really good fighter, Winky Wright. Really good fighter. Doesn't get enough respect amongst the American boxing fans, in my opinion, or any boxing fan, really. Yeah, I liked Joshua a lot at the beginnings. He was a powerhouse. Now he's trying to box like Lewis. Yeah. Again, to me, Joshua was at his best when he was a risk-taking boxer-puncher. He was an aggressive, risk-taking boxer-puncher. That's when Joshua was most dangerous. Lemieux, last I heard, Lemieux was supposed to fight David Benavidez. Pretty sure. Yeah, exactly, Nordic. Yeah, great defense, Felix Sturm. Hard to hit that guy clean. I wish we got Sturm versus Abraham. That would have been a great fight. I mean, there is some truth to that, but So, like, but look, Klitschko, for example, yeah, the guy was past his best. He was 41 years old. But even that Klitschko was very dangerous, despite him being way past his best. He would have still beaten many top 10 heavyweights at that time. It's still a good win. And even that version of Povetkin, yeah, past his best, no doubt, but still a good win. He beat some decent guys, Joshua. Even Parker. I know it was a horrible fight, but it's a pretty solid win. It's a pretty solid win. Yeah, I like Munguia, man. Yeah, he's going to get to 45 and 0. I think now is the time for Munguia to really step up. He can fight either Janabek, maybe for a vacant title or an interim title, or he can fight Carlos Adames in a WBC eliminator. Either option I like, but I think he's got to fight one of those guys next. I think he's got to fight one of those guys next. And I'll tell you what, man, Munguia versus Janabek would be a fucking war. Because Janabek is the southpaw counterpuncher. He's going to be looking to lure on Munguia to big shots. But Munguia is a lot more active, he's a lot more busy, and he's a front foot fighter. That will be a fucking war. Munguia and Janabek. That would be a war. Great fight, man. I wish we get that fight. Great fight. Yeah, it was vacant. Technically, it was for the interim title, though, because Collins was not technically retired yet. But very, very shortly after, he was made full champion by the WBO. Okay. Look at how worked up Davison got at the weigh-in. There's definitely something up. There maybe their weight cut is getting tough at 31. Yeah, it has to be. That's a good shout, actually. We was talking about British trainers. Grant Smith, underrated trainer in the UK, done a great job with Sonny Edwards, doing a really good job with Dalton Smith. And yeah, I think Marku going there is a really good look. Yeah, old Jeff left hook Lacey, yeah. No, honestly, bro, I don't think he can pull it off. I don't think he can pull it off. But all I'm saying is he's going to be more competitive than people imagine. That's my opinion. Yeah, Scotland. Yeah, you've had the great Gary Cornish, Nordic. You can't forget about Gary. And that's another factor. People are waiting for the Ben Davison partnership to go wrong. I still listen. I think Ben is a really good trainer for certain fighters. And don't get me wrong, Ben helped Josh get the undisputed title. But I'm still not sure that relationship is right. Still not sure. Yeah, the high guard is a basic necessary in boxing. The fact it's not being taught is a joke, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, Winky was he was quality, yeah. Yeah, underrated fighter, but for whatever reason, like nobody in America talks about him. It's really weird. Because he was undisputed at 154. Good fighter. Yeah, and Winky Wright, he had to travel abroad. He fought in the UK. I think he fought in France. He fought all over the place at the start of his career because he couldn't get fights. He couldn't get fights. If that was a fighter these days, he would hide out in America, fight once a year, and complain that everyone's ducking him. Whereas Winky Wright actually took the initiative, fought away from home, got some wins, built up his rankings, built up his name, and he got there eventually. Albanian boxer, not a fan of Conor Benn. Chris Andre boxing, I think AJ is a superb heavyweight that would be a top heavyweight in any era. I agree. He's lost to a very special fighter, and people think that makes him a bum. It's silly. People saying Ward would have beaten him. No, AJ in two. I totally agree, Chris. I totally agree. we all understand he's flawed, no doubt about it. But listen, what he does well, he does well. And on his day, he's extremely dangerous. I think it's more like people are saying Joshua's washed, etc., etc. Physically, I think he's fine. I think he's fine physically. I think it's just a mental thing with Joshua right now. He seems like one of those guys who's prone to overthinking things, and I'm that sort of guy as well. To be honest, you know, life in general, I overthink a lot, and it can definitely lead you to, I don't know, I see, yeah. Joshua, I don't know. He needs to get his mindset right. I don't think the Usyk rematch is right for him right now, particularly under a new trainer. I think he needs a couple of fights away, a couple of 10-rounders, maybe fight in America. Bed in with his new trainer, work on some new techniques, build his confidence back up, and then come back. You know, he's still young enough where he can do that. He doesn't need the money. And listen, Joshua's a commodity, so he's going to get big fights regardless. People are saying, oh, he'll get frozen out. He won't get frozen out. He'll get big fights. But I think he's left it too late now where he can do that. I think he's left it too late. If he was going to do that, he should have really done it straight after the Usyk fight and made it clear that I'm going to go a different route. I need to go back to the drawing board, change trainer, bed in, learn new things, and then I'll come back. But he can't really do that now. He's left it so long. And I'm not convinced that the Usyk rematch is best for him. I wouldn't want to go in a Usyk fight in a rematch with a new trainer, with a new setup. I wouldn't want to do that. And that trainer, whoever it is, has got a big task at hand. Very big task at hand, in my opinion. Yeah, Josh was eating a massive pizza after the weigh-in with a Pepsi, no dehydration clause for him. Laugh out loud. Agree, mate. Grant Smith as a top trainer and a great move for Marku, yeah. Marku's a weird one for me. Like, I saw signs in that Prodan fight that he's really developing, really learning. I felt he boxed quite nicely in that fight. But his previous fight, his last fight, man, it looked like he regressed back to his usual style. I think there's a semi-decent boxer in Marku. I think there's a semi-decent boxer in there. Not world level or anything, but he's got some nice little moves. He's got decent feet. Lovely jab when he commits to it. Yeah, Gary Cornish, man. I remember Gary Cornish. AJ's for second best heavyweight. Fury beat an old Vlad, and Wilder's a bum. Yeah, Steven's not a fan of Tyson. I'd say Joshua right now is the third best heavyweight. I'd say he's the third best heavyweight. Fury and Usyk interchangeable in my opinion. Then Joshua, then Wilder, then White. That's what I would say. How well would Antonio Margarito do now at 147? I mean, it's hard to say, man. His era was very tough. Cotto, Clottey, Paul Williams. He competed in his era pretty well. He'd be a threat. No doubt about it. He'd be a threat. Would he beat Crawford? Probably not. Yeah, Marku was a 5-time kickboxing champion with only 3 losses. Yeah, the guy's a fighter, no doubt about it. But I've said that on this channel loads of times. I like Marku. I think he's good value. I find him entertaining. I like him. To me, Florian Marku is what Alan Babic tries to be, kind of thing. I think Florian Marku really is that guy. The guy he portrays. He seems like a nasty piece of work. Whereas Alan Babic, to me, it just seems like a gimmick. kind of thing. That's how I look at Florian Marku. I quite like his act. It's not even. I don't think it's an act, but I like his persona. I like it. But that's just boxing fans, Marianne G. There's always certain fighters that tend to attract these sort of fans, where you can't have any discerning opinion on them, and if you do, you're a hater or you're a fanboy of somebody else. That's the boxing community, bro. It's not exclusive to Fury or Joshua or Canelo or Golovkin or Pacquiao, Floyd. It is what it is, man. I wouldn't get bogged down in that, because it can kill your enjoyment for boxing. Well, not kill your enjoyment for boxing, but it can kill your enjoyment if you're like a content creator to see these sort of people. But it is what it is. I've seen quite a lot of Pinkland Thomas. Lovely jab, good mover, smooth boxer. I've not seen too much of Mike Weaver, though. I can't lie. I've not seen too much of Mike Weaver. I know he was a big puncher. His record was he had a bit of a seesaw record, but yeah, he managed to win the title. Tough dude, Mike Weaver. Tough dude. I've only seen a couple of his fights, so I can't really comment too much on Mike Weaver. Yeah, there's a lot of people who fanboy for Tyson Fury. Yeah, that was the curse of the 80s heavyweight, John McSmith. That crack. That was that crack era. Ruined a lot of good heavyweights and a lot of good fighters in general. Ruined a lot of good fighters. Yeah, same, Stephen. I just try and have fun. I've got my go-to channels who I watch. Those guys know who they are. I'll comment now and again. There's some really, really good channels on this website, and it tends to be the channels who are most down the middle. Who don't get the shine they deserve for the most part. Because Chris Andre is a good example. He does tremendous boxing breakdowns pre-fight, delves into the psychological side of boxing. Like his video he did on Alexander Usyk a few months ago, after I think it was after the Joshua fight. It was one of the best videos I've seen in a long time in regards to boxing. Just a really good video, and there are some great creators out there. But it's like finding a needle in a haystack. You got to sift through a lot of hay before you can find the needle. I guess that's a shit analogy, but how far do you think Mcmadoff can go? I'll tell you what, his power is definitely real. If you're stopping Marius Vac, your power is real. Because like Wac's stoppages so far, he got stopped on his feet against Bakole, and he got stopped by Jarrell Miller because of injury, and he got stopped by Povetkin because of a facial injury. He never got dropped prior to Mcmadoff. So Mcmadoff's power is real. He's a little one-handed in regards to his attack. It's coming all off that right side, whether it's his chopping right hand or the right uppercut. He needs to be more active with that jab. I don't like the low left hand. He's got some flaws in his game, but like punching power-wise, he hits fucking hard. His power is real, Mcmadoff. His power's real. No doubt about it. Power is real. And he's going to be in some great fights. Great fights, man. He's going to be in some amazing fights. But he's 32, so he can't afford to mess around for too long. Needs to fight somebody next who is relatively highly ranked, who is relatively ambitious, coming to win. But I like Mcmadoff. He's good fun. But again, he does have flaws. Defensively, like I say, a bit square on. Doesn't utilize that jab anywhere near enough, and one-handed. So we'll see where he goes. But he's good fun. Yeah, Tony Tucker. Yeah, Tony Tucker, Pinkland Thomas, Tim Witherspoon. Yeah, but Tim Witherspoon was a really good boxer. I've seen Tim Witherspoon fights. I've watched Tim Witherspoon back. Really good fighter. Like I enjoyed like his fight with Larry. He gave Larry Holmes all he could handle. Carver Truth Williams, another one. Like the notion, the 80s heavyweights weren't weak. They weren't weak. There were some really good fighters around that time. There were some really good fighters. Does Canelo punch harder than David Benavidez at super middleweight? And can David Lemieux KO David if he catches him clean? I mean, it's hard to measure power. I would say in terms of pure one punch, I'd say Canelo does hit harder. His punch technique is a lot better. He turns his hips into those shots, gets a lot of torque. Whereas Benavidez more so is accumulation with his stoppages. So I'd say Canelo hits harder, to be honest. Can Lemieux hurt Benavidez? I mean, if he catches him clean, yeah, no doubt. No worries, Chris. I wouldn't say my boxing knowledge is encyclopedic, but it's decent enough in regards to like new school boxing or current day boxing. My historical side of things, not the best, to be honest. Not the best. Now this is the question: Kebab or chow mein? To me, it's a kebab all day, all day. I don't think it's a close decision, quite frankly. I'd go kebab, and it depends where you're ordering from, but I'd go kebab. Like I've got a really nice Turkish gaff in my area. They do some fucking great food, man, and their kebabs are so fucking good. But I'm a kebab man. Do I watch kickboxing? No, and thank you for the contribution, Mark. Much appreciated. Do you watch kickboxing? No, I've tried Muay Thai. I've actually tried Muay Thai, but I don't watch it. I don't watch Muay Thai kickboxing or anything like it. Muay Thai is a lot of fun, but fuck me, does it take it out of you? Takes it out of you, man. It's hard to me. I find it much harder than boxing. Muay Thai, much harder than boxing. He's a good athlete, Dempsey McKean. He's a good athlete, decent power, but I don't think he's all that great, to be honest. I don't think he's all that great. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Dempsey McKean versus Joseph Parker, Australia versus New Zealand. I think that fight would make sense. Yeah, I think it is. It's one of the hardest fights. One of the hardest fights for Canelo right now is B-Bowl, particularly if it's at 175. If it's at 175, I like that fight a lot. I like that fight a lot. That's a great fight. And honestly, right now, I'm tempted to pick Bivol, but I've been burnt on Canelo before, so I don't know yet. Mcmadoff versus Frank Sanchez. Mark thinks Sanchez outpoints Mcmadoff. If it goes 10 or 12, I pick Sanchez, no doubt. I pick Sanchez. But if Mcmadoff catches Sanchez, Sanchez gets knocked out. But the problem with Mcmadoff is he's guilty of following guys around. Again, not utilizing that jab to set up his work. Very one-handed, quite predictable at times. I think Mark's right. I think Sanchez on points is the more sensible pick there. I think I'd agree. I think I would agree. Yeah, I'd agree with Sanchez on points. Kebab, extra hot sauce all day. Facts. Big up to Bruce Goes, man, every single time. Big up to Bruce. Old school Toka. Big up to Bruce, man. Yeah, Scott Fitzgerald. Yeah, he's in trouble again. Yeah. No, I can't see Margarito being an Eddie Reynoso fighter. I can't see it, to be honest. Honestly, man, Margarito, he just needs to be fit on the night. Fit, healthy, strong, and his cardio needs to be on point, and that's really it with Margarito. I think Frank is a really good boxer. I think he's a really good boxer. He's not. Do I think he's going to be a heavyweight champion? Probably not. But he's a good boxer. He's going to be hard for anybody. I don't think anybody in the division looks good against Sanchez. They might beat him, but nobody looks good. I'm talking even Fury, Joshua, Usyk, all of these guys. Nobody looks good against Sanchez, in my opinion. I think he's going to make a lot of guys look a bit, Warlock ponders. Daniil Yulusanov is probably going to be the next world champion at 147. I see him beating Crawford getting older. Spence doubt he's the same after the crash or injury. Ennis could give him some challenges. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. Not a big fan of Yulusanov. Not a big believer. Great amateur, gold medalist, all that jazz. But I've not really been super impressed with him as a pro. I've not really been super impressed. I've not watched his last fight because he fought in Uzbekistan, wherever he's from, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, I forget, but he fought in his native country last time out. I've not seen that fight. Margarito and Mark Ramsey, that would be fun. I like Mark Ramsey a lot as well, the Canadian trainer. I like him a lot. He's a good trainer, Mark Ramsey. Done some good work over the years. Good trainer. Doesn't get much, no real shine, Mark Ramsey. Joe Smith versus Beterbiev supposedly to take place this summer. Can Joe pull out another upset? He can. He hits hard enough where if he catches Beterbiev, he could do some damage, no doubt about it. And Beterbiev does get hit, as we know. So yeah, Joe's got a chance, but I'm picking Beterbiev. I think Beterbiev collapses that pocket and works him, to be honest. I think he'll collapse the pocket and beat up Joe, but Joe's dangerous. If Arthur exchanges with Joe at mid-range, that's where Arthur could be in trouble. In my opinion. And I'm not saying Arthur can't fight at mid-range. He clearly can, but there's more risk there. Whereas I think Beterbiev's a much better inside fighter than Joe Smith Jr. Much better. I agree, Mark. I think Butayev beats Daniel. I agree. And I'll tell you what, that Spence undercard, that could steal the show, by the way. Radzad Butayev versus Stanionis. That's a really good fight. Really good fight. That's going to be a war. I've got Butayev, but it's a good fight. The question is, Albanian boxer, what don't you do? You do karate, you do boxing. Fair play. Just stick with it. Don't make the same mistake I did with boxing and not pursue it. Just stick with it. Do you think Murata will give Golovkin some challenges? Maybe beat him? Golovkin's nearly 40 and Murata can punch. Yeah, I think Murata's going to give it a good go. He'll give Golovkin some problems. I'd still pick Golovkin, though. To be honest, I'd still pick Golovkin, but it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a dangerous fight for Golovkin. Hardest punch at heavyweight of all time, David Tua or George Foreman? I mean, you've got to put Ernie Shavers in there as well. It was something about Tua's power when he knocked somebody out. It just looked sickening. I don't know what it was. It's just the optics of it looked sickening. Like when he knocked out John Ruiz. That left hook man was brutal. I don't know, really. I'm gonna say fucking Shavers. Interesting. He says Ernie Shavers, Calvin Williams, and Foreman said Jerry Cooney. Interesting. Yeah, Jerry could punch. The Klitschko brothers and Usyk are in Ukraine. Loma bounced. Loma's too small to fight Russians. An AK-47 is bigger than him. Yeah, we'll see what goes on there, though. We'll see what goes on, man. Is Tony Sims a good trainer, Del? He's got 3 bang tidy daughters. One of them is on The Only Way is Essex. I don't think I'd last long. Fuck's sake. I didn't even know he had daughters, bro. But I think he's a decent trainer. I think he's done a good job with John Ryder. He's a decent trainer, yeah. Yeah, Foreman said when Cooney hit him, it felt like every bone in his body shook. Yeah. Yeah, Cooney could punch. Cooney could really punch, no doubt. I mean, it's heavyweight. Most of these guys can punch to a certain extent. Like even, like lesser known, more limited guys like Samuel Peter. Samuel Peter was a big puncher. Like watch Samuel Peters knockout against Jeremy Williams. You can literally hear the sound. It's like a baseball bat hitting somebody in the head. The sound of that shot, man. Warlock would say Dom is the best UK trainer. I like Shane McGuigan. I like Grant Smith. Who else is out there? I don't think Ben's as bad as people say. I do have my questions about Ben, but there are some decent trainers here. But yeah, Ian Ward, man, he's got me wanting to Google Tony Sims' daughters. What have you made me resort to, man? Chloe Sims, let's have a look. Yeah, she ain't too bad. Adam Booth. Not a big fan of Adam Booth. He's okay. For certain fighters, he's good, but Dom, body of an athlete with the face of a 75-year-old man. Yeah, whatever Dom's on, I'd like some. He's on something. Yeah, I think Shane McGuigan's done a really good job with Lawrence Okole. Done a really good job. I think you can see the progress with Lawrence. He's in a tough fight this weekend, Lawrence. Michael Cieslek's a good fighter. He's really versatile, Cieslek. He's not a small cruiserweight either. He's like 6'3", so not the smallest. He can punch a bit. He's a good fighter, Cieslek. That's a good title defense. That's a good title defense. Yeah, especially Adam Booth. He is quite analytical. But in terms of breakdowns, I actually think Ben Davison does have pretty good breakdowns, to be honest. I think he does do pretty good breakdowns. It comes across a little try hard, but I enjoy them. I mean, I'd expect the trainer to make to lay out a decent breakdown of a fight. to be honest. That is very true, BG London. That is very true. How big of a name would Josh Kelly be if he beat Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. in the same year? Bigger than Canelo? Nah, not bigger than Canelo, but obviously he'd be a big name. It's not going to happen, though. You've got a better chance of platting snot than Josh Kelly beating Terence Crawford or Errol Spence. Sonny Liston, another big puncher. Even his jab was a fucking shotgun. Like, his jab could break your jaw, knock your teeth out, break your nose. Yeah, Sonny was a big puncher. Now, Mark said this a lot. Tony Bellew, when impartial, is an amazing analyst. I'm not going to say amazing. I would say decent, solid, respectable. I wouldn't say amazing. But good, solid, yeah. But he's just too involved, Tony Bellew. He's just, too involved. But there you go. Just my opinion, but thank you for the contribution, Mark. Much appreciated, man. Yeah, company man Tony, exactly. That's his problem. Too much of a company man. Your hate blinds you. You might be right. Yeah, Paulie is a very good analyst. Very good analyst. I like Paulie. As much as I didn't like Andre Ward as a fighter, but I think he's a decent commentator. I think Andre Ward's pretty decent. He's had a couple of howlers, Andre Ward, like when he said Josh Taylor couldn't fight on the inside, but he's a pretty decent commentator. How do you think Bellew would have done if he stayed at heavyweight? Not too well. I think the biggest mistake of Bellew's career was not starting at cruiserweight. Because, listen, I'm not a fan of Bellew, but technically Bellew was a little underrated. He was a good boxer. Tony Bellew. And if he started at cruiserweight, I think he would have been a top cruiserweight, top 5, top 6 throughout the years. But I think that was Bellew's biggest mistake, was not starting at cruiserweight. Exactly, future mentality. Harley Quinn's the devil. Yeah, I think Paulie right now is the best, but he's not going to get any work anytime soon, which is unfortunate. You know, he's kind of been blackballed, so I can't see Paulie getting any big gigs anytime soon, which is a shame. But I mean, who's a good boxing analyst right now in terms of technical breakdowns, calling the fight as it's playing out? There's nobody really about who stands out in terms of like technical breakdowns. There's nobody really about. There's a lot of hype men, but no real like proper analysts in boxing. I hate Ward on commentary. He only looks good because he's got Tim Bradley next to him. I don't mind Ward on commentary. Yeah, he's hurt. Yeah, I like Jim Watt as well. I really liked him. What was it? Jim Watt and Ian Dark, Glenn McCrory. That was a good commentary team. Like, yeah, Ian Dark. He was like, he was the best like blow by blow commentator in the UK. Very good. I think the thing is, though, I think a 3-man commentary team's enough. To be honest, you do need a blow-by-blow type of guy, a hype guy kind of thing. You need the analyst and you need another guy. I think that's the perfect commentary team, a 3-guy commentary team. That's the sort of thing. I think that's the ideal scenario. I liked HBO with Jim Lampley, Manny Stewart, and Jim Lamp. Yeah, and what's his name? What's the old boy's name? What's the old guy's name? I forgot the old guy's name. Larry Merchant. Larry Merchant, Jim Lampley, and Emmanuel Stewart. That they were a great trio. Great trio. Yeah, I'm not gambling this weekend. To be honest with you, I rarely gamble these days. I rarely gamble these days. That's the thing, though. When people say, "Oh, I don't watch fights with sound," I mean, I get that the commentary is that bad sometimes, but I want to hear the punches. I want to hear the crowd. I want to hear the atmosphere. I don't really enjoy watching fights with no sound. I'll be honest. Got a couple of quid on Catterall and the Polish lad. It's worth a go. You never know. I think Okoli wins and I think Taylor wins, but it's worth a go. You never know. I'm trying to think who would be a good analyst in boxing in terms of fighters. Not sure. I don't mind Barry Jones. He's not a great analyst, but I quite like him. Yeah, Peter McDonough. Yeah, he's done some MTK shows. Yeah. Do you mean Taylor and Catterall? I'd say Taylor late stoppage. Yeah, I do like Barry Jones. Again, not a great analyst, but I just like him. I just like him. He's not. I guess he's biased to a certain extent, but not to the point where it's obnoxious. He's decent. He's decent. Algieri, I mean, he's okay. He's passable. I don't find him necessarily terrible, but again, not great. Not anything special. Yeah, Dan Hardy is very good when it comes to MMA. Again, I'm not a big MMA fan. I watch casually, to say the least, but I do like his commentary. Lomachenko's gone to Mount Athos in Greece. It's the holiest place for Orthodox Christians outside the Holy Land. It's on an island of monasteries and nothing else. He's gone to repent for sins and pray for peace. Yeah, why are people making out like this is cowardly? He's a man of faith and sees Ukrainians and Russians as one people. We need more people in the world like that. Exactly. Exactly. Like I was saying at the start of the stream, I've not paid any attention to the mainstream reporting on Russia and Ukraine. Obviously, I've seen what's going on. I've seen the imagery, but I've not seen any. I've not really listened to any mainstream reports in regards to what is going on. And the only person I've spoken to about it was somebody from my old boxing gym who has Ukrainian heritage, and he's kind of similar. He kind of his family were like, well, they are pro-Russian, I guess you would say, more so than Eurocentric. So it's a weird one. I need to research it on my own time, kind of thing. I'm not going to rely on the mainstream to tell me what's going on. I need to find some time to actually look into it properly. Well, I guess I get that people are panicking. It's closer to home being in Europe, but we'll see. But, you know, people like to talk shit, Chris. It is what it is. People like to talk shit and try to make out something that it's not. He's not. I mean, it's a weird scenario, BG, man. It's fucking weird, man. Regardless of what's going on, man, hopefully it ends as peacefully as possible. That's all you can really hope for, isn't it? That's all you can really hope for. Hopefully we don't meddle. Well, we already have, really, let's be honest. Hopefully we don't meddle, but, well, meddle to any serious extent. I think Peter Fury would be a good trainer for Joshua. I could see it. I said years ago, before Tyson Fury went to Sugar Hill, I felt that the Kronk Gym would be perfect for Joshua. Very good question. After the last 2 years, probably not. No, I wouldn't. After the last 2 years, no, I wouldn't. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'll be honest. Why would I fight for the people for the last 2 years have tried to take everything from me? Absolutely not. Might be a controversial opinion, but there you go. Lorenzo Simpson, heard a lot about him, not seen him. Warlock. Not seen him. I'm an Albanian from Greece and Kosovo. I've heard a lot of good things about Kosovo, actually. Apparently it's a beautiful country. I've been to Greece, but I've heard a lot of good things about Kosovo. Unless I was king of a country, I'd never fight for them. I couldn't go to the gym at Christmas with a foghorn leg on. Dear. But yeah, I mean, if you asked me that question in my late teens, early 20s, I'd have said yes, to be honest. But now, no, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. Yeah, go back to my motherland of Poland and find a wife. I mean, who knows what he's worth, man? You can never really trust these net worth estimates. No, not really. I spar now and again, Warlock. I spar now and again. Right now, I am, to give you an idea, I'm 6'1", about 168. So I'm a super middleweight right now. But if I trained, I'd probably get down to 160 quite comfortably. If I was fighting for real, I'd probably make 154. Yeah, the elites that have sought to turn us into second-class citizens and slaves would send us to war to die for a cause their kids wouldn't be sent to fight for. Nah, mate, exactly. Exactly. That's how I see it. But, you know, on the flip side, as bad as the last 2 years have been, it has made me realize certain things about myself, things that I always told myself. You know, when you tell yourself, if a time comes, you'd be willing to stand up for something and not bow down and curtail and cower and just submit. You always tell yourself that, right? But you never really know until the time comes. And when the time came, I was worried at the start. I was concerned, you know, about various legislations coming in, etc., etc. But I never budged, as many people didn't, and things seem to be getting better. But yeah, I mean, it's been a blessing in one way the last 2 years. I've learned a lot more about myself. Things in my life have gone a lot better. I've come up with additional income streams. I'm planning. I'm trying to future-proof. It's been a blessing in many aspects. It's been a blessing in many aspects. So I can't always, you know, I can't look at the negatives all the time. So it's one of it's weird. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. Yeah, Boris is Not trustworthy. I'll say that much. Marianne G, fuck that, die for the rich and the elite. No, and I've done 5 years in the military. I'm not young and stupid anymore. Yeah, I'm a slim dude, man. I'm a tall, rangy guy. I'd be a weight bully. I'd be a weight bully. I'd be a weight bully. I'd bore myself. I'd get myself down to 154. I'd get myself down to 154. I'd be like a Charlo. I'd be like an Andrade, I guess, at 154. That's what I'd do. Oh, good fight. Good fight, Big Boys Boxing. I would take. I'd probably take Wardley right now, to be honest, but it's a good fight. Oh, thank you, B&K, man. Thank you very much. I've got Taylor in 5 rounds. You could be right. I think Jack's going to last a lot longer. Make it to near the end of a fight and then get stopped. Oh yeah, YouTube's terrible now. I've had Google moderators in my chat. I've seen those before. So yeah, I am not early 20s, but I'm in my 20s. I wish I was early 20s. 6'2", 235. So you're nearly like a Povetkin type of guy. You're like a Povetkin type of guy. So I'm like a fucking Andrade or a Charlo, that sort of guy, you know, rangy dude. Like, I'm built like a fucking idiot. I've got some long ass arms, man. Like, I think because I've done this at the gym. I didn't measure my reach, but I measured my arm length. And Vladimir Klitschko's arms, I think, are 27 inches from armpit to fist. My arms are like 28.5 inches, and I'm 6'1". I'm built like a fucking freak. Lanky, odd-looking dude. But I tell you what, man, my coordination suffers because of that. I'm telling you now, I can't fight in the inside worth a lick. I just get bust up on the inside. I have to go Akole mode or Klitschko mode, just hug and hold. I can't fight on the inside myself at all. I'm built like Andy Ruiz won after a 1-year holiday. Sorry, I'm built like Andy Ruiz after a 1-year holiday. Yeah, exactly. I'm a knuckle dragger. Yeah. Yeah, I had some good attributes. Well, I've got some good attributes, but I couldn't really fight worth a lick. I'll be honest. I had a decent jab, decent straight right, but if you get to the inside, I'm fucked because I can't fight on the inside. I really can't. I wouldn't have many fans if I boxed. I'll tell you that much. I wouldn't have many fans. I'm built like Andy Ruiz's armpit. You're probably right, actually. Yeah, and not even just Scotland and Ireland, but I'd say even like the north of England. Probably. I don't know. It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. Just got to do right by yourself, your family, your friends. Try to future-proof yourself to the best of your abilities, and that's really all you can do. Try to be a positive influence on those you love. That's all you can really do. Sometimes I think we get preoccupied with trying to save the world or trying to wake people up. And while it's admirable to try and do that, but is it practical? Is it a good way to spend your time? Probably not, because if you look at the world differently to like the majority, like who taught you to think like that? Did anybody teach you to think like that, or was it just in you to look at the world and have a second glance rather than just believe a narrative that we're told? Who taught you to second guess things and ask questions? Is it natural, or did somebody teach you? To me, it was just it was what it was. I've always been like this. I've always been a bit of a contrarian. I've always been I'm the type of guy to disagree for the sake of it. At times, I'm just that type of guy, and I'm not convinced you can wake people up, but I'm not sure, man. I think it has to be in you to a certain extent. Rounds 9 to 12. So passive. Rounds 9 to 12. No, it wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be up that crazy. There's probably some freaks with super long arms, man. Yeah, so some American footballer had a fucking arm length of like 38 inches. That's insane. I think Bivol goes for distance. Absolutely. I don't think Bivol gets knocked out. He's got a good chin, Bivol. Like, people say, oh, he got hurt against Joe Smith Jr. Yeah, he did, but it was a punch on the bell when Bivol was relaxed. He thought the round was kind of over, and Joe Smith caught him, and he wasn't expecting the shot, and it was a full-blooded shot. And yeah, Bivol was hurt, but he took it quite well considering he wasn't braced for it, wasn't expecting it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Tommy Hearns. That's it. If only I could hit like Tommy Hearns, that'd be nice. Blue Collar keeps putting himself down, but never forget, if you run your mouth, you can finger your mum from the next postcode. Oh man, yeah, I'd agree. Big Boys Boxing. I think in terms of one punch power, yeah, Joe Smith Jr. hits harder. Yeah, absolutely. Like, Joe's a real puncher. His back is fucking wide, man. You can see where he generates that power. He's a big dude. He's a chunky dude, Joe Smith Jr. That's lifting those fucking cement slabs on those building sites, man. He's a strong dude. What do they say in America about farm boy strength? That's what he's got. He's a strong dude. Just naturally a strong dude. And he's improved as a fighter, Joe Smith Jr. He's definitely improved. He definitely comes in behind that jab a lot more these days. And I like the way now, when he's throwing combinations, he'll vary the power of his shots. So it's not just like continuously hard shots. It'll be too light, then a hard, then another light, then another hard. He varies with the power of his combinations now, the individual punches. So he's definitely getting better at opening guys up. He's getting better at pressuring. He's definitely improved in recent years, Joe Smith Jr. I think he's improved. Good fighter. Pretty high considering the styles. Yeah, I'd say it's a real possibility. Oh, he's an iron worker. Okay, still strenuous job. Like, the most manual thing I've done, I've worked with plumbers and on labouring in general. I've worked on sites, but not for any extended period of time. And it's hard work. It's hard work. Honestly, if I had to compare myself to a fighter, like body type wise, like forget height and reach, just like body type, I guess like Nate Diaz maybe. In terms of like how I look, kind of thing. I'd say Nate Diaz, but longer arms. Yeah, Ricky done a lot for UK boxing, no doubt. I wish we got Ricky Hatton Jr. Wittavo. I know it was before my time. I wasn't really watching boxing like that then, but it would have been a great fight. Like, I went back and watched some Junior Witter fights the other day. I didn't really realize how good he was. He was a good fighter, Junior Witter. He's a really good fighter. That was basically the original Brook versus Khan, Witter versus Hatton. Shame we never got it. And I tell you what, I might have picked Junior Witter to win that fight, believe it or not. I might have picked Junior Witter to win. I know Mark's not going to like that in the chat, but I think I would have taken Junior Witter. Watching Witter back. I'll be putting a small amount of money on B-roll to win on points against Canelo. Small loss if it doesn't happen, but big gains if it does. Yeah, that's worth a bet. Mad Chad, Campbell Hatton may have a better career than his dad. Short bus gang, yeah. No, I wouldn't say like David Benavidez. Like, Benavidez has more fat than me. Like, Benavidez has titties. Like, come on, man. Was Junior Witter a dustbin man? I know there was a guy who was what was his name? Rendell Monroe. He was a bin man. I'm not sure whether Junior Witter was, but I know Rendell Monroe was. Yeah, Rendell Monroe. He used to be called the boxing bin man, I think. Good fighter, Rendell, in his day. Good fighter. Iceman out here trying to say I've got titties, man. Look at this guy. Look at this guy, man. Let's have a look on By the way, it looks like this Canelo fight is at 175 against Bivol. That's good news. I'm less anti-British than Dell, and I'm pro-UK genocide. For fuck's sake. Unpopular opinion. I like boxing with no crowds, and would have been easier to listen to your coaches. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the whole no crowd thing, I liked it to a certain extent. I did like hearing the instructions from ringside. I liked hearing the punches land, but it got boring quick. And just the whole optics of it, what it really meant as a whole, I didn't like it, to be honest. But there were certain aspects I enjoyed. But I'm glad the crowds are back. I'm glad the crowds are back. We're gonna have 5 genders in boxing soon. Yeah, Rendell Monroe. He fought in Japan against what's that Japanese dude's the guy's name? The guy who fought Donaire, sorry. Nishioka, I think it was. I think he fought Nishioka in Japan. Let me have a look. Rendell Monroe. I know he fought Josh Warrington. He fought Kiko twice and beat Kiko twice. He beat Kiko twice. Rendell Monroe, I'm sure he did. Let's have a look. Yeah, Nishioka. He fought Nishioka in Japan, went the distance, yeah. And yeah, he beat Kiko twice. You know, he had a good career. European champion, English champion, had a world title fight. Yeah, he had a good career, man. He had a good career. Yeah, boxing with no crowds. Check out a Billy Joe Saunders fight under Frank Warren. Yeah, probably your old Big up to Anthony Manzano. Big up to yourself. Being a dustbin man in the summer is hell. That smell, I can imagine. Big up to them though, man. People cuss that profession, but those dudes work hard, man. Those dudes work hard, and the stigma that comes with it. I mean, big up to those guys, man. I fucking can't stand people who, you know, those sort of people who look down on those sort of jobs, man. People have to do it, and it's not an easy job. And weirdly, bin men in my area get paid pretty fucking well, to be honest. They get paid pretty well. Yeah, Warrington definitely needs to sort his trim out. He was looking like fucking Lloyd Christmas in that press conference. Have I still got a picture of it? No, I don't. Yeah, I had a mate who was a fishmonger, worst smell ever. Did he beat Victor Terrazas? Yeah, he did. He beat Terrazas in a WBC eliminator. See, that was a good win as well. I mean, at the time, Terrazas was a pretty good fighter. He was a world level guy at the time, so that's a good win as well. Yeah, so Kiko Martinez twice, Terrazas, yeah, had some good wins. Because I'm pretty sure Terrazas went on to become a WBC champion. Maybe I'm wrong, but he was a good fighter. Blue Collar Sports, I was reading how some of these young prospects for boxing in the state of Florida train, and what they do is some of their families own sugarcane fields, and what they do during the summer and spring is they go onto the sugarcane fields and chase chickens between the sugarcane, and it helps them with their footwork. Interesting. Yeah, imagine Josh's wife letting him go out looking like that. It's crazy. Yeah, he literally looked like what's his name? Larry Christmas or Floyd Christmas, whatever his name is on Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, Floyd Christmas. Yeah, Floyd Christmas. Looking crazy, Josh Warrington. We'll see how Josh gets on, though. We'll see how Josh gets on in that fight with Martinez. God, Martinez, man, he's been around for a long time. He's been around for a long fucking time. What we got here? Yo, what's up, Mark? Me and my friend were talking about the dream boxing matches we want to see, and I said I'd like to see Tyson Fury versus George Foreman. Yeah, that's a good fight. My dream, I'd love to see Carlos Monzon versus Marvin Hagler is one. I'd love to see that fight. I'd love to see James Toney versus Gerald McClellan. That would be a great fight. Gerald McClellan versus Gennady Golovkin. There's too many. Sugar Ray versus Floyd Mayweather. That's Ray Leonard. Duran Pacquiao at 135. Chavez Pacquiao 135 or 140. There's Winky Wright versus Mike McCallum. There's too many, man. There's too many. There's too many. That's a good fight to have now. I'd watch that fight. Why is it not okay to criticize boxing? I've seen growing anti-criticism array of cucks these days. What gives? Yeah, I've noticed it as well. If you don't box, you can't have an opinion and all that sort of thing. That's weird, man. I mean, we are the paying customer after all. I mean, we can critique the product and give our viewpoint. It's weird. You never see that in football. Like you never see that with football fans, rugby fans, cricket fans. It's exclusive to boxing. I don't even see it in MMA. It's weird. Your guess is as good as mine, but I notice it. I notice it. Jesus. But anyway, guys, I need to wrap this up. I need to actually make some fucking dinner. I've not even made dinner yet, so it's 10 o'clock at night. I've not even made anything. So it's a microwave job for me, more than likely. It's going to be great. Anyway, guys, hopefully you have a good week. Hopefully you have a good weekend. Enjoy the boxing as well. Some good fights this weekend. Stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And yeah, catch you on the next one. Peace.